Hey guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to another Retro RPG. Now normally I'd be saying at the end of another week, the end of another poll, but this time we're still using the last poll. Because as you watch this, the day it's released, I'm actually away from home. So I'm not available to record videos, I'm not available to even look at polls. I won't have access to computing equipment at all where I am. I'll just have my mobile phone. So, I put up one big poll. We did the winner of that last week, and this week we're doing what came number 2, which is Edge of the Empire from Fantasy Flight Games from 2013. Now we'll be looking at that on the computer desktop in a wee second, and I'll be back at the end of the video with some other channel related stuff. But before I do that, I'd like to take a moment to talk about my Patreons, who are wonderful, wonderful people who make all of this possible, and their efforts are so much appreciated. Now if you'd like to join them, and I sure wish you would, and help out the channel, or you'd like to see these videos a week early, or you'd like to see one of the other levels of patronage we've got, then the Patreon's linked to in the description down below. If you click on that and check it out, it'd be very much appreciated. But anyway, let's have a look at Edge of the Empire. So, this is the Star Wars Edge of the Empire role-playing game. It's one of the 3 which came out from Fantasy Flight Games in 2013. The other 2 being Age of Rebellion and Force and Destiny. Now, Age of Rebellion is your standard Rebel Alliance versus Galactic Empire game. Force and Destiny is your Jedi game. So you are Jedi, presumably during the prequel period, you'll be off doing good as it builds towards the Clone Wars, and then you'll be fighting in the Clone Wars against droids and the like. But during the Imperial period, you will be Jedi on the run. You'll be getting hunted down by Inquisitors and Darth Vader and the like. You'll be trying to keep in hiding, while still keeping up the Jedi way of things of helping people out. But Edge of the Empire is your Fringer campaign, your Scoundrels one. You are Han Solo and Chewbacca being space pirates and smugglers. You're interacting with Jabba the Hutt and other scoundrels, as it kind of points out on the back cover. So if we flick to that. Star Wars Edge of the Empire role-playing game. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It is a time of unrest and opportunity. The Empire struggles to maintain its grip on the galaxy in the midst of civil war. On the edge of the Empire, scoundrels and smugglers, bounty hunters and bandits, explorers and exiles all scramble for a living. Embark on your own adventures in the Star Wars galaxy with the Star Wars Edge of the Empire role-playing game. This complete tabletop role-playing game explores the lawless fringes of the Empire. Flee from Imperial entanglements, double deal with Hutts and gangsters, and jump to lightspeed in the fastest hunker-junk in the galaxy. This core rulebook includes a dynamic dice mechanic that goes beyond success and failure to enhance narrative gameplay, full playable rules for 6 careers, 19 specializations, and 8 species, enabling flexible character creation and development, obligation rules to invest player characters in the story of Edge of the Empire, starship combat, customizable equipment, force powers, dangerous adversaries, and much, much more. So, inside the book, if I can get to it, there we go, back to page 1. The artwork is absolutely phenomenal. I like this view of a very scuffed up Mandalorian helmet. Inside we've got the credits, we've got the table of contents, and then we've got the detail. It's a dark time for the galaxy. Striking from their hidden base, the Rebel Alliance has destroyed the Galactic Empire's powerful Death Star. Now Imperial forces strike back, throwing the galaxy into war. In the midst of conflict, countless planets suffer under Imperial tyranny. Many flee oppression to build new lives beyond the bounds of civilization. On the edge of the Empire, these renegades struggle to survive and remain free in the midst of ongoing turmoil. And nice picture of Han Solo. And we've got the first chapter, Playing the Game. So explaining what a role-playing game is, the basics, what you need, pointing out that there's a beginner's game, what player characters are, games master, narrative play, and the core mechanic. So it's talking about that. And we go on to the dice. So these are special dice. And we will have a look at those. I'll flick over to the desktop and we'll have a look at the dice first. And so we've got these Star Wars role-playing game dice for Edge of the Empire, Age of Rebellion, and Force and Destiny. Crack it open. We've got some light side and dark side tokens there. And we've got the dice. We scoop them all back in. Now, these are standard hit symbols, which mean you've succeeded at something. There's multiple ones here, because they will get countered by, I believe these are called thorns. Basically, they're disadvantages or failures. So if you get hit and a failure, they counter each other out. If you end up with more hits, you've succeeded. If you end up with more failures, you've failed. But we've also got things like these, which are advantages, which allow you to introduce different story elements in if you've got abilities. Some sides are blank. And somewhere around there, yep, we've got that, which is a triumph. That's an absolutely fantastic success and will have beneficial effects as well as counting as an ordinary success as well. And you've got positive dice, which have lots of successes on them, so you're rolling to see how well you've done. And then you've got bad dice, where you've got failures, you've got disadvantages. I should have a one with, I can't remember what the opposite of a triumph is, but it's a massive failure, which gives the games master the ability to introduce stuff as well. And we've got sort of force dice, where you get light side and dark side force if you're calling upon it. And basically you're rolling a bunch of dice and seeing how many successes you get. If there's disadvantages and problems, then you are getting disadvantage dice to throw as well. So you'll be getting a large amount of dice to roll and see what you got. So we've got 1 success, but 2 failures. And we've got 4 advantages, which basically don't mean a lot because we've actually failed at what we do, but we can introduce some story elements or power up some other stuff based on those. But we'll have failed that dice roll. So, with the dice, it explains the different symbols and results. So we've got successes, we've got advantages, we've got triumphs. We've got negative results, so we've got failures, threats, and despairs. And we've got force resources. So we will deal with all of those in a rules breakdown video in one of the weeks to come. Lights, camera, action. During the course of Age of the Empire adventures, characters find themselves attempting a variety of tasks. So we're talking about how to do that through the basic dice pool, what characteristics are, your brawn, cunning, presence, willpower, intellect, what skills are, choosing a difficulty. One of the things which I find fascinating about it, as we'll detail more in a rules breakdown video, is that you don't increase the difficulty by making target numbers higher. You introduce difficulty dice, and more of those are rolled, giving the chance of worse things happening the more difficult the task is. So you actually roll more dice the more difficult the task is. Building a basic dice pool, applying skills and characteristics, talks through all that, modifying dice pools, upgrading and downgrading dice, upgrades and downgrades in the same pool, removing dice, and how to interpret them. So what success, failure symbols mean, what despairs, what triumphs, etc. mean. We've got other checks, so opposed checks, competitive checks, assisted checks, and then we've got other key elements, so different talents, destiny points. The pool of destiny, because your group has a pool which you all add to and withdraw from. Limits of luck, obligations, so what your character owes and what's going to draw them into adventures. You know, Han Solo owes a debt to Jabba the Hutt. You might have taken out a loan for your starship, etc., etc. Start experience points, improving characteristics, skill training. We've got derived attributes, so your wound threshold, strange threshold, defense, and soak values. The artwork is extremely lovely throughout. We go on to character creation, so you need to come up with your concept. You choose your specializations, invest in experience points, etc. But you're choosing your character background first of all. You know, what kind of character you are, whether you're an outsider, whether you come from the middle class. The obligation, what you owe, what's going to draw you in. And it's got a table here of different types, you know, whether you're addicted, you're being betrayed, you're being blackmailed, there's a bounty out for you, you're a criminal, you owe somebody, you're duty bound, etc., etc. Obligations in play, obligations at threshold, and then we're choosing a species, which is often the first part of choosing a character. You know, I want to be a Bothan pilot or whatever. So we've got the species here. We've got Bothans, we've got droids, we've got Gand, we've got humans, Rhodians, Trandoshans, Twi'leks, and Wookiees. And that's your lot for this one. choosing a career and specializations. So you choose what career you want. You're going to be a bounty hunter. And within that, there's different trees. So you might be a bounty hunter assassin, a bounty hunter gadgeteer, a bounty hunter survivalist. Or you could be a colonist, and the three from that are colonist doctor, colonist politico, colonist scholar. You might be an explorer, and they've got fringer, scout, and trader. Hired guns, bodyguard, a marauder, or a mercenary. Smugglers, who are pilots, scoundrels, or thieves. Technicians, mechanics, outlaws, and slicers. Then you've got your starting experience points, which you invest to improve your character. What talents you might acquire and specializations. Then you determine your derived attributes, determine your motivations. We've got some sample tables here. Motivations in play. You've got your gear that you're going to start with, physical description, choosing the ship, and it's only 3. I was very surprised this is a very short section. Wayfarer, medium transport, a YT-1300 or fire spray. Then we've got a section on skills, so talking through skill ranks. We've got a master skill list here, and then with them in far more detail. So we've got a page here on astrogation, athletics, charm, coercion, computers, cool. Just lots of skills, many pages of those with extremely detailed rules on how they each work. Skullduggery, stealth, streetwise, vigilance. We've got combat skills here, so brawn, gunnery, ranged weapons, melee. We've got knowledge skills, xenology. Then we've got the talents. Now these are sort of special abilities, kind of like feats in Dungeons and Dragons. They go beyond what a skill is and add some extra abilities. So we have them detailed out here. Adversary. Upgrade the difficulty of any combat check targeting this character once per rank of adversary. Anatomy lessons. After a successful attack with a non-starship vehicle weapon, character may spend 1 destiny point to add damage equal to his intellect to 1 hit of the attack. So he knows exactly where to hit. And by spending that destiny point, he increases the damage because he's getting them really where it's going to do the maximum damage. And loads of these. Some of them are very open. And this is where I have a problem with this system, because some of them allow you to use a massive amount of imagination and dominate a game. They literally allow you to defeat a problem with a dice roll, if you can come up with a reason why that might work. And while I like the idea in concept, I think it's overpowered here. I really did end a lot of adventures when I was running it by coming up with extremely detailed plans. I'd roll a dice and they would come true, and I downed an AT-AT walker with a blaster pistol once because I came up with a way I was going to modify that blaster pistol to take it out, and I had the ability to back that up. We've got loads of different abilities. As I said, I'm a bit think that some of them are overpowered, but I'm sure you could limit those in play. An absolutely lovely picture of a Wookiee here, with his hair in braids. There are so many of these different abilities because each of the skill trees gives you access to them. And some will be unique and some will be shared. So you'll find that a fringer who has some technical skills will often cross over with an engineer. We've got gear and equipment, talking through what currency it is, how rare it is, getting things on the black market, etc., encumbrance values, the different ratings for combat, different abilities, so if a weapon has knockdown or it's inaccurate or it's inferior, etc. We've got weapon characteristics, weapon maintenance, weapon descriptions, going from holdout blasters up to disruptor rifles. Some very nice pictures here. I think some of these might be from other sources, that they look pretty familiar. I'm sure I've seen some of them in the West End Games books, but I've definitely seen some in the technical source books that I've got so many of, because I do love myself some Star Wars. Descriptions of the different weapons and some more illustrations. We've got brawling weapons, melee weapons, different types of armor. going up to quite a heavy armor like Boba Fett would wear. Different pieces of gear, going from communications through cybernetics, the brain implant that Lobot has, macro binoculars, just loads and loads of equipment, because Star Wars is kind of a game built up by your equipment. So you're going to be using med packs, you're going to be using macro binoculars to see things far away, you're going to be using grapple guns to scale your way into Imperial bases. We've got different security equipment here, slicer gear, different tools and jetpacks, black market items including glitter stim and different types of drugs, death sticks. Unique illegal equipment, so data breakers, outlaw tech personal stealth fields. Customizing and modifying all the equipment, weapon attachments, so you can have different improvements to your weapons, and blaster actuating modules, bipod mounts, and bowcaster accelerator enhancements, so you're not using just a standard blaster, you've got a customized one which does a lot more damage or has certain special effects. Shortened barrels, underbarrel grenade launchers, flame projectors, telescopic sights, weapon sling. We've got armor attachments including cortosis weave to deactivate lightsabers, strength enhancing systems, vacuum sealed so you can use it as a spacesuit. They're onto the combat rules, so it's narrative and structured gameplay. We've got an overview of the structured gameplay, how turns work, maneuvers, different types of maneuvers, different types of actions, how to make ranged attacks, how to do defense, soaking damage, the different ranges, additional combat modifiers, so if you're attacking with 2 weapons, you're making ranged attacks while you're fighting in melee, etc. Another lovely picture of a Wookiee absolutely smacking the hell out of a stormtrooper. We've got environmental effects, so if it's dark or the gravity's not right or people are in cover or in water or you're fighting in space. Wound strain and states of health, detailing what happens as you get wounded. Critical injury results. Other ongoing status effects, so if you're staggered or immobilized or disoriented or dead. How to recover from your wounds. They're onto Star Wars airship section. I'm just flicking back because that's a very nice picture of a YT-2000 being attacked by a TIE fighter. Starships and vehicles. So we go through all the different things, customization hardpoints, their speeds, their maneuverability, what armor they've got, what different weapons you could have, up to proton torpedoes, turbo lasers. And then we've got combat terms when you're piloting, maneuvers, stay on target, punch it, damage control, all the different things you can do while flying a ship. And that's one of the areas this game works over other Star Wars games, because it gives so many things you can do in your ship. So while you're in combat, the gunner's firing the weapons, the pilot's flying, but other people can be patching the ship up and keeping it flying when systems are burning out in combat. Nice to have something for everybody to do rather than people sitting around. Oh, I'm the melee guy. I'm no use in space combat. Well, you can be doing something and trying to help out. Different tables for the different types of successes you can get. Planetary scale range bands. Stellar phenomena or terrain. So different effects in space which can affect your ship as it flies through it. Taking damage. What happens as your ship gets damaged and systems burn out. We've got interstellar travel. And then we're onto some vehicles. So we've got air speeders, including the Cloud Car and the Skyhopper. We've got land speeders, including speeder bikes, swoops, speeder trucks. Tracked vehicles, like the sandcrawlers that the Jawas use. Different walkers, so the AT-PT. AT-EST Exploration and Survey Walker. Starship profiles for different starfighters. Now, this is obviously ones which are more likely to be used in the fringe. So these aren't frontline combat ships. These are a little aged. So we've got cloak ship fighters, fire spray system patrol craft, Jumpmaster long range scout, Lambda shuttles, TIE fighters, Y-wings, Z-95 headhunters. There's no X-wings in here, I don't think. Skip Ray blast boats. Then we're on to freighters and transports. So we've got various large ships. The GR-75 medium transport, space yachts. All very nicely. The standard YT-1300, the YT-2400. Oh, I said it was YT-2000. I was wrong. It's a 2400. Corellian corvettes, gunships, Marauder assault corvettes. Just different capital ships that your scoundrels might come across. Nebulum B escort frigates. And then we've got modification rules. So it's not just good enough that you get your YT-1300. You're going to want to add new weapons, equipment to make it like the Millennium Falcon. You're going to want to soup it up and make it a special vessel, your vessel. So we've got different armour and countermeasures, smuggling compartments, upgraded weapons, hangar bays. We've got a section on the Force, Jedi and the Dark Side, the Force in the Edge of the Empire. So we've got Force-sensitive exile here with their talent tree. Different talents, Force power trees for sense, for influence, for move. Then we're on to the Games Master section. Now, this is a very heavy book. It's over 450 pages long, so we are going through it very quickly, or as quickly as I can. So, how to run an Edge of the Empire game. Preparing and running your first session. Character creation. Learning the game. Running the first session. Lots and lots of advice how to start from nothing. Managing your party. Planning out game sessions with storytelling, sources of inspiration. Running the game itself. Adjudicating rules, player knowledge versus character knowledge. Lots and lots of handy stuff here. Using Star Wars canon or not. That's a very nice one, because I personally, when I first ran Star Wars some 25-ish years ago now, I took us from Return of the Jedi on, and obviously at that point there was nothing beyond that except the novels. And I didn't want to use them. I took myself off in a totally different direction, so the players didn't know what was coming. The entire universe was fresh, and anything could happen. And I blew up a planet or two along the way. So, dice pool evaluation, how to determine what a success is and not. Fear guidelines, spending experience, creating an Edge of the Empire adventure. Creating memorable allies and adversaries. Just lots of stuff to help the Games Master understand the systems in this role-playing game especially, but within the entire Star Wars universe. Using obligation thresholds, managing obligation resources. Player motivations and how to use them. The base of operations. So, where they're going to be based out of, so they can meet NPCs and make friendships and the like. So they are not just visiting a new place every adventure. You want them to have somewhere where they're going to come home and they're going to sell the equipment they've found. The mechanics are going to work on their ship. Selecting a starship, some advice on that. Adjudicating destiny points. And then we're on to running a full campaign, along with some examples of how you would plan that out. We've got some alternate and optional rules. And then we've got information on the galaxy. So the great hyperlanes, how people get around the Star Wars galaxy. We've got a map there. The deep core with notable locations, including the core worlds. The colonies. The inner rim. The expansionist region, the mid-rim, with notable locations, and the outer rim. And then we've got wild space, basically the unexplored region of the galaxy. We've got hut space, the area which is out of control of the Galactic Empire. About the huts and how they manipulate things. We've got the corporate sector, basically an area which large corporations paid the Empire to have their own area where they've got control over it. They're not going to get Imperial interference in their business. And they pay through the nose for that. But they are the entire government. And then we've got other notable locations, so Bothan space, Mandalorian space. We've got some detailed locations, so Bespin, Corellia, Fondor, Kessel, Nal Hutta, Ord Mantell, Ryloth, Tatooine. And then we're on to law and society. So we talk about the Galactic Empire and the tiers down it, from the Grand Moffs down through Moffs, planetary governors, and then we've got the Commission for the Preservation of the New Order, Compnor, with their military forces and the Imperial security. And we've got Imperial intelligence, the military, the Navy, the Army, the Stormtroopers, Imperial customs, and what things are going to be going on when you're dealing with the Empire. And then we've got the Alliance to Restore the Republic, so the Rebel Alliance goes through their organisation, how to deal with them. We've got Black Sun, one of the big criminal organisations, what they do, the Hutts, the Corporate Sector Authority, the Zahn Consortium, Tenlos Syndicate, the Bounty Hunters Guild, pirates. Then we've got Law and Order in the Galaxy, because you're playing a criminal, so you're going to be getting hunted down by the law more often than you're getting hunted down by the military. Detailing by sector, planet, across the galaxy. We've got Black Market, the Rebellion. And then we're on to one of the final sections. We've got adversaries. So we've got minions, who are minor ones, rivals, who are more powerful opponents, and nemesis, who are your exact opposites. They are as powerful as you. So, adversary list. We've got the Galactic Underworld, and we've got Aqualish thugs and arms dealers, Barabel enforcers. We go through all that. Smuggler barons, Sullustan pilot for hire. We've got spaceport personnel, comm operators, customs inspectors, security officers. We've got bounty hunters, apprentice hunters, master hunters. Forces of law and order, so we've got the Corporate Sector Authority Sector Police, security captains, vice prex, Imperial intelligence agents, Imperial naval officers. We've got Stormtrooper sergeants, Starfighter pilot, Planetary Defence Force troopers, sector rangers. Just so much to flesh it out and give you a variety of people. And people who might hire you, Black Sun Vigos, Hutt crime lords. Got people from the core worlds, arrogant heirs, so nobles. Philanthropic senators. We've got different types of droids, assassin droids, battle droids, astromechs, maintenance droids, medical droids. We've got galactic oddities and fringe dwellers, so forsaken Jedi, Gamorrean thugs, Ithorian storytellers. Doing it in stereo, I guess. Wookiee gladiators, mid-sized Dianoga, Gundarks, captive rancors, and then finally we have Trouble Brewing, a adventure. And it's quite a long one, so getting the players involved, going through different things, places they're going to go, travelling around. It's, as I said, it's quite a detailed adventure which covers a lot of the bases of Star Wars to let you learn through, from flying ships around to encountering opponents. Smuggling rivals, shadowing people, so you've got sneaking around stuff, tracking people down, journeying into an asteroid, and we've got the reward at the end. And then finally, we've got an index. Character sheet. It's quite a fancy character sheet. Lots of areas for you to mark off your different ranks. The flip side of it, a character sheet for your starship. And that's us reached the back cover. So, it's a pretty darn good game. There's a lot of detail in here, and it's definitely got its own tone. It's very different from the earlier Star Wars role-playing games, and in many ways it's a lot more imaginative, and the way you can get your players involved in writing the story is far more so than the earlier games. But it is quite complex. There's a lot going on here. You saw the size of the combat rules as we went through. They are quite massive and detailed. So while I prefer my more streamlined Star Wars D6 system, because I can just get on with telling a story and we roll some dice and things happen, this really gets your players involved, but does have a lot more bookkeeping to do as you keep track of everything. So that was Edge of the Empire, and that came second in the big poll I did a few weeks ago, where Conan won. This came second, and we've got the Toon role-playing game to be done next week while I'm away travelling. So there's nothing to tell you about the poll. I talked all that through last week, and there's no new poll up yet because I'm still away travelling and I won't be putting one up until the end of the Toon video, when that goes live. So we'll be doing that next week. So there's not much more I can say. There's probably some stuff I've put up on DrivethruRPG. If you want to check that out, there's a link down below. If I've been at home, I've been doing some updates on RPG Gamer, probably with the Knights of the Old Republic comics. That'll be linked somewhere around, or just type in rpggamer.org and you'll end up there. Apart from that, I've whittled on for quite long enough, so thank you very much for watching. But as always, most of all, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.